with all things short-term rentals, revenue streams, and helping you navigate your career, real estate, and your busiest and most wonderful seasons of life. So grab your coffee, get comfortable as you get ready to learn and grow with me. This is the Luxury Short-Term Rental Doctor podcast. Welcome to another Luxury Short-Term Rental Doctor podcast. Let me get my words together. My dear friends, I am joined today with the amazing Scott Hill. He is the visionary behind the software that we are launching to leverage direct bookings. Now, take it from me. When it comes to getting your property booked on all the platforms out there, if you don't build your business on your own land, this is what one of our colleagues love to say in the space, you're going to leave a whole lot of money on the table, whether it's just an extra 5% in direct bookings, 10%, 20%, 30, 40, 50%. It makes a huge difference, and it has the ability to add an extra couple of $1,000s per month to your bank account, because at the end of the day, you know, it's all about how do I own and operate the fewest number of properties that generates the highest profitability. So it has nothing to do with, let me just take on a whole bunch of non-profitable doors. How do we optimize and make the doors that we currently have even more profitable? And so we have that solution for you today. Scott, welcome, my friend. Can you please introduce yourself to the people in your own words?
Sure. Thank you for having me, Rachel. It's good to see you again. We are becoming fast friends as we are going through this together. I'll make it very quick. I have been a small business owner. I've owned my own business virtually my entire adult life. Right out of college, I was a uninspired student in college. I went there to play football, so I was not worried about grades, which came to roost spring of senior year when I realized nobody wanted me to hire me because I didn't concentrate on grades. I didn't really go to college for that. So I took a sales job because a mentor of mine had said, "Hey, listen," he was a successful life insurance salesman. He said, "Listen, if you can sell life insurance, you can sell anything." So I said I had no really good response to that because I didn't have a job. So I said, "Okay," I was in that for a couple of years, learned how to do it, realized that I wanted to go out on my own. So that started my journey around small business ownership. Since 1996, I've been building businesses online, totally virtually online. In 2017, got into the marketing software game and started to grow a business. That was pretty uneventful for the first several years until we started to get a small group of business coaches as clients. And one of those business coaches moved on to be the head of the 10X coaching and mentoring program at Grant Cardone's company. And she called us and said, "Listen, would you help us?" So we took Grant Cardone on as a client, and that led us to Bill Faith. And Bill Faith, as you know, a good friend of yours,
Yeah.
him and I got together because Bill had a similar problem with finding software that worked for him, you know, that leveraged his time. At the end of the day, that was the big answer he was looking for. What could he hold on to from a software perspective that could help leverage his time? And there's no one probably more busy in the short-term rental industry than Bill. And so, and the good news about Bill was Bill knew software. So we joke that the main joke we share on stage when I'm with Bill is we survived Bill. And that is important to know because Bill was not going to let something slide by him that was less than what he wanted it to be. He is pretty committed to excellence in what he does. And so we sort of survived him, launched a beta program, in less than 90 days, onboarded over 400 short-term rental owners in the program that we've built with him. And then we started looking for people like you, other influencers that we can help their communities do something similar. And what we've learned through our discussions with you is that you have a little bit of a different slant on how you teach your students and therefore have a real loyal community. And there are things that we can do to tweak what we do inside these communities to really make it a win for everyone. And so that's just what we do.
Yeah, and we had the great pleasure of attending the event that Bill and Mike Shogren had put
Michael
together.
Soren, yeah.
Yes, the SDR Wealth Conference in Nashville. That was just incredible just to get to meet you in person, Scott. So that really solidified our ability to connect and, just
Yeah.
gave you an opportunity to see firsthand the impact of how software is able to move the needle for the community. So that's awesome. Yeah, Bill and Mike are
Yeah.
great. Oh my gosh. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
powerhouses in the space for sure. So yeah, like you
Yeah.
said, so we primarily focus on medical professionals. Although Bill he's extremely busy in the short term rental, our members are burnt out and busy in the
Yeah.
emergency rooms and the hospitals. And so having a tool to support them every step of the way, having the automations in place, I think is very important. And so Scott, this is something that I know in my pivot from healthcare to real estate to the digital marketing and education space. Software, SaaS, software as a service, software is huge, and it gives us
Yeah.
the ability to connect with our audience, to continue to reconnect with them, to send messages to them, and so on and so forth. So, could we talk about unpack that a little bit?
Yeah.
Say for the healthcare professional who doesn't even know what an email list is, who doesn't know the
Yeah.
power of um, staying connected. We know about social media, but it wasn't up until 2021 that I knew what an email list is personally, Scott. So I'm
Right.
speaking to my past self. That's who we're
Yeah.
speaking to. We're speaking to that real estate investor who just launched their one property and they're trying to figure out how to, solve the problem for vacancy, how to have a little bit more predictable income in the future. But they don't know what an email list. They don't know the power of software. They don't know what a CRM is.
Yeah.
Can we unpack that a little bit for them?
Sure. 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 Yeah. When Bill and I got together to talk about how this software that we have was going to benefit his community, we looked at the suite of services we have, and he just said, "Whoa, hold on a second. There's a lot here." And so we've gotten into the habit of suggesting that our software is literally an elephant. There is so much to it, and that whole analogy of eating the elephant one bite at a time applies here for sure. Like, we've done software for 7 years and we find it to be, it's a full-time job, clearly. So when we talk about where we've noticed big, um, the big impact for your community would be things around, okay, how do we do email marketing? How can I maybe deploy direct landing pages? How can I use a social media planner to make my life easier and faster? And how can I use SMS marketing to make my life easier and faster? And because we have all of those in one platform, that itself is an efficiency, because would you rather have four logins, four software programs to learn, or would you have it all rather have it all in one place? And that's an answer. It's fairly, I'm leading people down the road what the right answer is, I suppose, but it's fairly obvious what the answer is. That's your first efficiency you have when you get marketing to be all in one place. And that is literally what we have created, is an all-in-one marketing platform to help you go down this road of having a place where you can send emails, having a place where you can have a direct booking page where, if you have a PMS system, and for your students and people in your community who only have one property, they may not have gotten that far yet,
Yeah.
but it's using those features to make your life easier, and then say, I can't imagine how the transition of what your community thinks about on a daily basis when they think about their 40 to 50 hour a week job, plus this idea, this dream of having this portfolio possibly of short-term rentals,
Yeah.
and the demand of that.
Yeah.
And that's hard, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I want to take it a step back a little bit and discuss, for instance, the PMS. You mentioned an acronym in here. For those who are unacquainted, a PMS is a property management software. Some of the members of our community have like more of a simple channel manager and not a fleshed out PMS. So, a channel manager is a tool that you can use to deconflict your calendars so that, for instance, if someone books my property on Verbo for March the
Right.
13th, then it gets blocked and they are not able to book on Airbnb on March the 13th. So for our newbies in the house, I know that we're onboarding new people. So I want to make sure that everyone's aware of what a channel manager is. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but it's a huge deal to deconflict those calendars. And that's one of the little automations that we have in place so that we're not agonizing over, oh my gosh, am I going to get a double booking? Because that's one of the things
Yeah.
that nightmares are made of, right? Another
Right.
guest walks
Right.
in on a previous guest that's at the
Right.
property. So
Oh man. Yeah.
can't even imagine. So now this is a little bit more of an advanced conversation because what we're talking about now with Scott is a software that we can build a landing page so that instead of relying 100% on Airbnb, you can actually have a direct booking site like a website like Airbnb, but it's your own for your own property where the guest can book with you. Say it's a great guest, they gave you 5 stars, you gave them 5 stars. You're like, oh my gosh, I would love to host them year after year or quarterly if they want to come back. Well, don't sell that booking to Airbnb and let them get those repeat bookings and those repeat fees. You can actually set yourself up so that you can receive those bookings on your own. Your calendar's integrated very well. You can send them out emails and remind them, hey, don't forget Mother's Day is coming up. Coming up. Why don't you come and spend some time with me at our property? Remember how much you loved it. Remember how much Fufu loved it. If you're pet friendly, which is something that we advocate for. So I didn't want to get ahead of myself, but I wanted to do a little bit of explaining there for those who are still very, very new to us, Scott. No one left behind. I'm a believer of no one left behind. We got to
I
take
get it. I get
it.
it. Take it. I am, I think we're all like that. I can't imagine how smart the people in this community are in their own chosen fields.
hmm
It's taken me a lifetime to get to where I am. And sometimes I do forget a bit where I'm at versus where the person starting the race is,
Yeah.
kind of deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And so what I'm learning also, Scott, is that marketing is key. Marketing is the key to all of life,
Yeah.
which I did not know. Again,
Yeah.
2021, just learned what an email list was. Last year, I learned what a funnel was.
Right.
Like, what's a funnel, you know? So now, can you tell us, you have a methodology called the 4 S's of marketing.
Yeah.
What is that? Tell us about it. Enlighten us, my friend.
It is really tied to when you make decisions about how you're going to market in today's day and age, which really can't happen without software. What are the components that need to be in place for it to work? If it doesn't have these things, it's not going to work. You're going to waste time, money. I don't think your students have a lot of time and money to waste on these things. So you just want to think about when you engage or you're going to engage in this marketing, this digital marketing type of ecosystem that's available. You got to have these 4 components in place. It won't work. You won't maximize ROI, and you're in jeopardy of wasting essentially all your time and money on it. So the first one is marketing involves software now. So that's the first S. It is software. So if you run ads on Facebook, that's a software program that you're using to put those ads up on Facebook. In our case, our software is an all-in-one marketing software. So that has got to work. It's got to be dependable, reliable. You've got to make sure that it works. That is key number one. That's the first S. The second S is if you have ever purchase software and you get on it and they're just these people, these software companies are so proud of their features, but they just say, now that you have it, go use it. We wish you the best. And it's almost designed for everybody. If there are no strategies, that's the second S. If there are no strategies that you can essentially plug and play to leverage the software almost immediately in a niche business that you want to follow. So in this case, it's short-term rental. If we have strategies that we plug into so that they set right on top of the software so you can plug and play them. So if you have a guest that checks out, you can initiate a workflow that for the next 200 days, they can get a series of emails. You've just plug and played it. And this automation is designed to go out and regularly ask them essentially or remind them about your property and the chance to rebook on your property. We just talked about that. That's marketing. So software, strategies, and then the third S for most people, that where it falls apart, frankly, is the support. They just don't get the support. They have a question, they have a challenge, they have a frustration. There is not someone to help them bail them out of that frustration in the form of support. It's the most serious thing that we do, other than making sure the software is dependable. On our side of the game, we're responsible for the software and the support, really. That's why we partner with people like you, because you guys have the strategies. You know how to optimize this path towards short-term rentals, how to get the most of it. Well, we set your strategies on top of our software and provide support so that when people have challenges, they can get help. So that's S number 3. And the fourth one, as you might imagine, is if all of those things are in place, but the subscriber doesn't do their part, either by hiring someone to manage the first 3 S's, then it's not going to work. So it's just those 4 pieces of the puzzle, Rachel, that make it so critical for software and marketing to work in this day and age.
Love, love this. Okay, so this is absolutely amazing. And thank you for breaking it down for us in a way that is very easy to understand. And one reason, I think one of the biggest reasons why we approached you and your team was the support, Scott.
Yeah.
I think that's something that we take for granted. And it's up until I started in this business, I realized the importance of support. And I tell this to my members as well. I often get the question, which PMS or which OTA or which channel manager is better? Is it Hostfully? Is it Hostaway? Is it Guesty? Is it,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, to me, it's the support. It's who's going to
Yeah.
help
And
you when something happens. That's important because a lot of them are very similar. Let's be honest. They're very
yeah.
similar, right?
Yeah. And I believe in your community especially, we'll even need to provide more support, frankly. You talk about your client avatar, who in your community is generally really attracted to the work that you're doing. It's people that have the same similar sort of lifestyle that you have, which is typically a full-time job. They're not yet full-time short-term rental career people. So they have this ongoing discussion with themselves. How do I trade money for time?
Yeah.
And that's what I do now. And that's probably what you do, right?
Yeah.
I spend my life figuring out how to buy more time,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. And we have quite a bit in our community. I would say it's 50-50. Most of my community members, like myself, we don't intend on leaving our W-2. I never intended on leaving. I just
Mm,
needed an extra 2 properties
yeah,
on the side so that I can generate revenue. But I'm having so much fun doing this. I've since left. But my
right.
ER doc, my orthopedic surgeons, they're not
Yeah.
they're some of them do not want to leave. They just want
Hmm.
to create a little bit of that breathing room so that they're not so burnt out. So having the
Yeah.
tools in place, having the automations, having the systems, having the
Yeah.
support is what's going to enable them to get there. So let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit more about the subscriber, the fourth S. I don't think I fully picked up on that. So can you break that down for me a little bit more, Scott?
Yeah. So what we've learned from this community is there are there's a spectrum of subscriber, but the spectrum always with software is the DIY subscriber, do it yourself. They are willing to jump in and learn the software themselves for one of 2 reasons. They just want to do it themselves. Maybe they have a spouse or they have access to someone on close to them that, like, what, if I learn it and want to pass it off, I'd rather do it that way, and I'm going to invest the time to do it. That's the DIY subscriber we have.
Mm-hmm.
Then on the full other end of the spectrum, we have the done for you subscriber, and we have partners that we've brought on. We call them solutions partner providers that are willing to do all the work for them. They sign up for the subscription. They say, okay, I can't or don't want to do any of the implementation. And so that's the other end of the spectrum. And we have everything else in between. I would say normally our support is geared towards the DIY to right to the middle with the done with you. So people can come in during live office hours, or we have live support hours, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., where they can schedule a 15-minute live support call with someone on our team and say, I'm struggling with this. Can you help me implement it? And we'll implement it for them. So
That's
for
amazing.
the subscriber to win,
Yeah.
and then that done for you spectrum might also be, okay, I'm far enough along. I'll do what I have to do to understand what the platform does. Then I'm hiring a VA. I may hire a VA to do it and spend 20 hours a week managing the subscription for me. Those are the types of subscribers we see.
That's amazing. And I know Dr. Ryan in our community, he launched recently. And so he spent some time, so he's doing locum tenens now, meaning kind of like the substitute teacher in the hospital world.
Yeah.
He goes around and he covers for doctors who are on maternity leave, who just,
Mm,
for whatever reason, there's a gap. So he just flies around. He's like a
yeah.
travel medical professional. And so he has a wonky type of schedule with some downtime in between. So
Yeah.
that's what he did. He started off with the done DIY it, and now he has
Yeah.
a virtual assistant that helps support him. Once the light bulb went off, he's like, okay, I get it. And that's how I am too. I love tech. I like to get into it, but after
Yeah.
I've done the eighth thing, the same thing 8 times, and it's so repetitive, it's like, okay, I can hand this off now. I'm a
Yeah.
delegation queen, as you know from
Yeah.
the people on our team. So
Sure.
nevertheless, that's definitely a
I
great
will say,
option.
Rachel, it's a binary thing with our software. You either have a strategy to eat the elephant one bite at a time, or it is going to roll over and crush you.
Yeah.
That we just haven't seen it any other way. So
Okay.
if you get on and you say, okay, I've got this ability to create a direct booking page. I've got this ability to start, manage, or use email marketing. I've got this ability to use SMS marketing. I've got this ability to do social media planning because I have a couple software accounts, Facebook, Instagram, and I want to start scheduling posts. Which one do I rank first? Rank it first and learn it and get it implemented. Once that's working, do the next one, do the next one. That's how you eat the elephant. Otherwise, you start like sort of like sampling all parts of the elephant, and then it just beep, bam, and it rolls over, and you're like, I don't get it, I don't understand it, and it's gone. So that is such a perfect example you bring up of a subscriber who wins with us.
Yeah.
They learn enough because
Mm-hmm.
they're interested in tech enough
Mm-hmm.
so that when they pass it along and the VA comes back and says, I can't do this, I don't know how to do this. Yes, you can. This is how you do it. Here's the support channels for you to reach out to Scott's team, and it gets done. And that's how you win.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it takes me back to school where, say, we're working on TPNs, for instance. It's like the IV solutions that we put in everyone's system, right? So we're gonna put a little bit of potassium. We looked at the labs. The potassium was a little low. We're gonna put a little bit of potassium, try it out. We don't know if they need 20 milliequivalents or 40. So we put about 20. We look tomorrow morning and we're like, oh, they didn't quite hit it there. Let's go ahead and put a little bit more potassium. And we keep messing with the potassium, and then we start looking at the other electrolytes, but we're going to prioritize. The potassium is like life or death. We got to
Yeah.
get that potassium going, and then we'll look at our sodium, we'll look at everything else. But yeah, getting that focus, because you're right. Our community, we're quick starts. We're super smart, and we get that shiny objects, and it's like squirrel,
Yeah.
squirrel, squirrel, squirrel.
Yes.
So focus
Yes.
on the potassium, your lowest hanging fruit. The 80-20 rule, Scott. So tell me this: what's the 80-20? What's the one thing that someone like us should start with that's going to give us the biggest bang for our buck long term, and then we start adding on all the other components.
It's such a good question, but it does depend. And that's why I say rank them because it depends on the person.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about the person who has 2 properties, and now they've survived the first one, and it's like kids. They survived the first one, like, and I can have another one,
Yep.
and I have 5 kids, so I'm like, I survive.
So
So
you're
like
every day
you
you're
survive.
surviving. Every day you're
Oh
surviving. Listen.
man, it's survival. It's survive. Occasionally thrive, but mostly survive. But it's like I have to decide at that point. I'm saying, okay, I'm tired of giving all the money away to the
That's
OTAs,
always number one. Listen.
right? So that's probably the direction I'm headed.
Yeah.
I'm tired of giving the money to the OTAs. And when you let off this podcast, you talked about how to put more money back in your pocket. But the beauty of it too, to me, is that you're not only putting more money into your pocket, you're putting more money back into the guest pocket
Yes.
too. You can
Win,
communicate
win,
that
win.
story.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So to me, it's like I love to be able to tell the story as a short-term rental owner, to be able to say, not only here's the social proof, and Bill has such a great strategy. When Bill does his direct landing pages, or when Bill does any of his marketing for social proof, he includes the Airbnb link and the VRBO link,
Love that.
because he says, if you don't want to take my word for it, go here. But what I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling you is, here's this magical third link,
Yep.
this direct booking page where you can go here, and here's how you save on. And I'm willing to give you a discount because I'm saving off the OTAs, and you're getting a discount
Yep.
then as a result.
That's a
And Bill's putting
raise.
more,
And it's a
and Bill's
win
putting
all
more money in his
around.
pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love
yeah.
that.
And so if you're gonna if you're at the one stage, like, it's, you probably are teaching this, it's survival mode to see if you can handle the second kid, you know what I mean? It's like, so, um but I would say you're in this strong mental decision making space of, do I need to get the PMS? And if I get the PMS, that opens the door for me to get direct bookings, because now I can embed. If your students know are this far, some of you won't. You'll probably come in behind me and kind of explain this at the elementary level. But what the PMS system does is it provides a direct booking widget. So when I build my direct booking landing page, I can embed the code and they can book directly on that page and don't have to go back anywhere, don't have to go to Airbnb, don't have to go back to the PMS. And when they book there, that magic happens.
Love that. Love that. No, this is really good, and I love the fact that your solution is all in one. So from the direct booking site, so we have the landing page, it's beautiful. We have the social proof on there. We have all the pictures. We have all our
Yeah,
reviews, all the things. So from there. You mentioned an automation
yeah,
and a essentially I don't know if we would call it a content calendar, so to speak, or an email nurture sequence, so to speak.
it's an email nurture
Okay,
sequence. Yep.
so I said some big words there, guys, but let's talk about it. If you're in my ecosystem, I email you every single day, so it means that you're a part of our email list, and so I have scheduled emails that go out to you every day, whether it's reminding you of this podcast or of a live training or something. You can have that for your rental business. You can have that for another coaching business that you're thinking of exploring. You can have that for a
Yeah.
variety of businesses. So, for this particular short term rental, mid-term rental business, you can automate an email or two so that your past guests, you have a touch point with them. You remind them of the wonderful time they had in your property, and you trigger them to want to come back and book with you again, right, Scott? Could you talk a little bit about the
Yeah.
psychology behind that?
Yeah, the psychology behind, like, I uh I do and don't do this from time to time. I'm actually getting back into this aggressively here in the next quarter. But in my past life, and in my current and in my future life, I buy and sell businesses, as it's one of the things I do. Okay, so when I buy and sell businesses, one of the highest percentages of the value of the business is called goodwill. When you buy a business, a lot of it is called goodwill. And one of the most important components of goodwill is your list of people that are your repeat customers, that are your email list, that people are in your community, they can significantly impact the value of your company. And it's really business 101 these days is you've got to develop and maintain a list. So Rachel, like it's core to your business how important it is to be able to communicate with your community, and you communicate with them every day, so you stay top of mind, and that creates massive value for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so it reminds me of the crash that we saw last week. I don't know if it was a crash. I don't know what happened, but everyone was freaked out because Meta and Facebook was down, right?
Yeah,
And
right.
so if that goes down and you still have an email list, you're still in business. But a lot of
You
people
are.
were in full panic mode. You wouldn't believe the messages and everything that I was getting
Oh,
in the digital marketing world. It's like, I'm like, well, just email your email list,
right,
And they're like,
right.
email list? I'm like, what?
Yeah, yeah.
So we do everything in our power to immediately convert followers, everything. Those followers aren't yours,
Yeah,
honey. They're not yours.
right,
They belong to
right.
social
That's
media.
exactly
Until you
right.
get an email, you don't quite have a business. And until you get an email from your guests, guys, you don't quite have a business. And when you look on the Airbnb platform, Verbal platform, the emails are redacted there essentially,
Yeah,
right? So Scott, let's
that's
talk
right.
about email collection. So we're gonna send out emails to people. We're gonna build out this website. So building out the website, that's one point of contact. But how does the email collection work? Break it down to us like we're five. Does the software do it automatically? Do we plug into another software? How do you recommend that we are leveraging email with Market My Two Doors?
Yeah, some of the PMS systems do a better job than others of capturing that information, but it's exactly to our conversation though of why would Airbnb and VRBO not give you the email if it wasn't so valuable to them? You know what I mean? It's like they're
Ooh.
protecting it life and death.
Oh my
Why are they doing that?
gosh.
Why are they doing that? Because they want to own the relationship.
Oh my
So
gosh.
how can we compete and start, like you were saying, like you teach every day, how do we own our business? Is we
Mm-hmm.
get direct access to the relationship. And the way to
Mm.
do that, we have a really good relationship with StayFi.
Okay.
So StayFi is a
Great.
company,
Yeah.
right, that they sit on top of the Wi-Fi network, and you have to log in through their software, and that captures the information. And we are launching this week a direct integration with StayFi. So all that information that's gathered goes immediately into our platform,
I love that.
and you can take action on that.
I love
We're doing a direct integration with OwnerRez this week. We're about 75% through Hospitable's integration. We are working with we just started with Guesty this week,
that.
all coming
Nice.
out of Bill's conference. So that's the stuff that's going to help you. Again, it's we ask the question of ourselves, and I hope you're happy with this, is we ask the question of ourselves, how can we make our subscribers' lives faster and easier? That's all, like, it's our constant mission, faster and
Mm.
easier, faster and easier. And then our second mission is how do we help them get to at least 25% direct bookings?
Love it.
So you can capture email through StayFi.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have if you've ever seen those chat widgets that you can put on websites,
Yes.
where it's like you can communicate.
Yeah.
We have that technology, so our
Love.
direct booking pages. So you advocating for pet friendly. That's a good example of the chat widgets there. They're on your page, but they can't necessarily see it's pet friendly, or they have another kind of question. They start a call. That's an email. You just captured their email, you captured their phone number, and now you're growing your list. So those are a couple ways.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so the next component that I'm really excited about, outside of email and outside of the landing page, is the SMS texting. Can we talk about that for a
Yeah,
second? So,
yeah,
what we know about marketing and why it's important, guys. I know I harp on email, but thank goodness I have a team that helps me to triage through my emails. Not everyone has that luxury, right? But
right.
one thing no one helps me to triage through, and I manage myself, is my texting. I will open up my text messages. That's
Yeah.
like right now. Tamara's asking me questions about taxes. Leave me alone. I don't want to talk about taxes tomorrow. But literally, I manage my text messaging just like your guests, right? Future guests.
Yeah.
They may miss an email, but they will not miss their text messaging. And I feel that that is such a huge value add. Can you tell us why you decided in your suite of products that you felt it was important for SMS texting to be a part of it as well?
Yeah. Do you see where I have the 11 on my phone? Do you see that icon
Yep.
called Lead Connector right there?
Yeah.
I I can keep my personal life personal, and I can keep my professional life professional, and
Oh.
build text message relationships with my clients, but they don't get access to my personal phone number.
That part. Okay, so there is a privacy um fear in my in healthcare. Like we don't
Exactly.
want others to know that we're doctors. We don't want it's like, "Hey, I'm Rachel. I'm just this girl from across the street," because we're in a very litigious
Yep.
environment. So we do not want our patients knowing where we live. We don't want our guests knowing about our actual medical background. So right there, I'm like, hold your horses.
Let's
This
do a
is so
demo.
important.
Let's do a
Yeah,
demo.
let's do it.
Text me.
Okay.
Text me to 615-808-8508. Just text hi to me.
818.
Six one
Uh
five
huh.
808
Uh huh.
8508.
8508. Okay, I just
Just
texted
text
you
hi to me.
hi. Let's see if the network doesn't let us down.
Okay. I just got your hi.
Okay,
Okay. Here it
fantastic.
is. Okay. You can see my hi. You can see your
Oh,
hi, right?
okay, yes.
This is on my app. And now I'm going to text back to you, hi back.
Okay.
And this is where it is life changing. I have got your cell phone number. You just texted me on
Yeah.
your cell.
Yeah.
I've got your personal cell. You don't have my personal cell. You have my business SMS two-way text line. I hear, here's my, here's my, so here's my message icon. I don't have any messages on my personal.
No.
I've got it on my business
This is
app.
so great. Okay, so for those of you who are listening and you're not watching the live, so it appears like another type of chat messenger. It's not your usual SMS Apple native or Android native. It's a whole different app, but it's, two-way texting, which is
It's
amazing.
two-way text. So I am
Okay, this is
I am building this
fantastic.
personal relationship that you're going to open up 98% of the time. That's the statistics. You're
Yes.
going to open up, and you will never get access to my personal number. You will never do that.
Okay, let's for those sitting in the back, let's say that again. What is the percentage of the open rate for a text message?
It's close to 98%.
Jeez. Yeah.
So here's an application that we do with our subscribers. We teach them, let's say you have had 10 people stay at your property,
Mm-hmm.
and there's the most amazing event coming up. Let's say it's Christmas in Gatlinburg, okay?
Okay. Uh-huh.
And you have not yet filled that.
Okay.
And you have a list of 150 people with all their cell phone numbers, and you've grouped them in groups of 10, and you want to book that property. So in groups of 10, you send them a text, exclusive opportunity to book on our property, a $150 gift certificate to our favorite restaurant, and a 5 or 10% discount on our property. And you send that text 10 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you get a booking. You didn't blow it out to 150 people. You blew it out because in our software, you can group and just send to small groups. They
Mm.
get that text, one of them books. You've left 140 now that you didn't send, and now you've kept your bullets in your gun on those. You can send them something else now. And if you didn't get on the first 10, send to the second 10, send to the third 10, send to the fourth 10. Do you know how much that costs you to maybe get $2,000-$3,000 booking? It's like less than a tenth of a penny for text.
Come on. That's amazing.
So what's the ROI? You can't calculate the ROI on that.
That's amazing. No, I love that. I love that. And the fact that you can go into the software because automatically my mind goes to, okay, I'm going to group them on my phone, but I can actually log into the software and just do it on my desktop or laptop and not, be pecking on my phone per se. So that's awesome.
That text you just sent me, you can call me and it'll ring to my phone, but when it rings, it says you have a new lead coming in and I can choose to answer it
Mm.
or not. Imagine, one of your students who's busy, they see it come in, they know it's a property this lead, or it's a conversation, but they can't take it at that time. They just choose not to answer it. But what's never going to happen is, because that alert comes up, they're never going to be caught off guard, and they're never going to be bothered with a call that they're not ready to take.
Yeah.
And they're never going to be hounded because someone got access to their personal number.
This is
That
good.
that's how you run a business.
Yeah, and the fact that you have found an all-in-one solution for us is what I'm excited about. Number one. The second thing that I'm excited about is your integrations. You're integrating
Yeah.
with the platforms that we're familiar
Yeah.
with and that we're already using. So it goes to
Yep.
show, what the future has in store for us. So from a technology perspective, could you speak to exactly the booking process, because I haven't had the great pleasure of seeing what that looks like at the end of the day. So someone lands on my landing page that we're going to be
Yeah.
building very soon, and then they're
Yep.
ready to book. Is my calendar updated because of the integration that we have with my OTAs? Can they book directly, or do they have to pick up the phone to make a call to book?
You need a PMS.
Hmm.
So if you have a PMS, and the ones that we see the most are owner-res, hospitable, and guested.
Yep.
We sometimes see host away.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of some others.
Hostfully is another one.
Hostfully we
Yeah.
see
Hmm.
once in a while.
Yeah.
As
So
long as
most of our
that
members have
software,
Guesty and Hospitable and Owner Res. Those are the most
okay.
common.
So as long as they have those, that's great. And they just need to find inside of their account, you'll see an embeddable booking widget. And that code is what you embed into the page that you build, that is your direct booking page. And on that page, it shows your calendar availability, and you book right there. You can literally do the transaction right on the page, and that will then, all of that information goes back into your PMS, would then sync up with your Airbnb and VRBO, and you're good to go.
I love that. Okay, so what about a time capital perspective? So say I sign on today,
Yeah,
Scott, and I'm ready to go. I go to marketmy2doors.com. I sign
yeah,
on. I select one of my three options, and we'll break it down, guys. We have host, we have super host, we have next level. Let's
yeah.
first break those three down for our members,
Okay,
and then we'll talk
okay.
about what's that time investment look like next.
Okay, so the three subscription choices revolve around the number of properties you have. So the first one is 1 to 3. That's a host, what we call our host plan. And to be honest, like, you and I are gonna have to decide when we're going to launch, because we're going to have a
Yes.
big blowout, and we're going to have exclusive pricing for your community. This is going to be
Yay.
like, get in now, exclusive, once in a lifetime opportunity, and we're going to make this worth their while. You know what I mean? So
Love that.
we will be pricing these plans accordingly, so that it really is, it would be wise for them to get started immediately. It's that type of thing, but it is based on properties. The super host is anywhere between 4 to 10 properties, and then the next level plan is 11 to 20 properties, and then we have an additional fee for anything above 100, above 20 properties.
Love that. Okay, so I want to log in and get started with building a landing page. What does that
Yeah.
onboarding look like? What should I expect?
So we offer what we call a white glove onboarding. And for that $250, we will build your first landing page for you. So
Nice.
that is usually a direction people go, because it is complicated. And usually people do the math on their time, and they say, gosh, for me to do this myself, we have a DIY onboarding course that we certainly can share with them, and they can do it themselves. But most people decide, my time isn't worth at least, 75, $100 an hour. And then they say, I'll just rather have us do it for them.
Yeah.
So by the time you get your landing page done, you're probably investing a total of 3 hours of your time more if it takes you a lot of time to collect all the pictures you want to put on a landing page, because we have templates and you just kind of tell us, what template you like, what look and feel do you like for a landing page, and then we'll do it for you. Our team will do it for you. And we have best practices. We follow things that we know that work for landing pages, and so that's kind of a time frame for a landing page. 3 hours, I would say, total. It may be in a series of a couple things, and if you have all of your pictures ready to go, then we can grab those and we can work with those. But it's, if you know this about even Airbnb pages, it's the copy and it's the pictures. What are you going to say? What are you going to show?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
100%. And as far as what would you say is the ongoing maintenance time capital look like? Like for every week, what are the things that I perhaps should be reviewing or tweaking potentially or assessing? Of course, direct bookings. I want to start to see those direct bookings. That doesn't happen overnight, guys. So hold your
right.
horses. However, what are some things that I could be doing week after week to make sure I'm moving the needle in the right direction so that those can start
Yeah.
to help my business out in the future?
Depends on how many properties you have, but the good news is if you deploy the features that we have eventually, which are SMS, which if you have the direct booking page and we install the chat widget and you want that live so people can ask you questions, you can imagine um, that's going to start generating questions, and there's some time commitment there. I mean, a couple hours a week should be ultimately what you're investing, and it should be initially it's going to, let's say, cost you some time to learn it, but it should be saving you time. You should be doing a simple, how much is my time worth and how much time does it save me? And I don't know how much like manual tedious follow up and emails your community's sending and how much time that takes, but we want to eliminate all that essentially. That's really the important thing.
I love it. And as far as from a content perspective, we didn't touch base too much on the content calendar from social media. Can we talk about that a little bit? Because social
Yeah.
media is where a lot of people are either happy scrolling at night or just doom scrolling at night. So
Right.
I wouldn't mind for my listing to pop up on their feed and get them thinking about a vacation.
Yeah.
So could we
Yeah.
talk a little bit about what that content calendar looks like? And what do you think is a
Yeah.
reasonable expectation if we want to deploy something like that as like phase two or phase three in our, direct booking journey?
I think the reality of sustainability for social media is have a pulse. Like most people come out of the gate, they get an Instagram account, they get a Facebook account, and then nothing because they can't sustain something. So
Yeah.
if you just think about the psychology of, I'll just say what I do, and if this is what everybody else does, and if you want to say it doesn't apply to me, the funny thing about business owners is what they do when they're a consumer, they don't apply to what they do as a business owner because then they say, well, no, it doesn't apply to me. Well, it applies to you. And that is when I go out and look for a service or I look for something to buy, there are lots of times where I go to the social media account to kind of get a little social proof.
Yeah.
And what would I do if I went to the property Facebook page and they hadn't posted in a year? What
Mm.
would I do?
Yeah, they're out of business. You thinking, oh, yeah.
They don't care. They don't
Hmm.
care about me
Yeah.
because what you have to realize is the psychological, the psychology or the subconscious in us is saying, I support Facebook if I'm on it. I support Instagram if I'm on it. This is my community. This is where I hang out. You're not willing to hang out with me? So if you don't want to hang out with me, I don't want to hang out with you. And so
True.
if you have a pulse, and this is what we advocate for, if you get a lot of reviews, you have a lot of views on your property, simply create a weekly post with a testimonial and put it on your Facebook page, put it on your Instagram page. And then you have a once a week post regimen
Yeah.
for just your testimonials. Now that's one piece of content.
Yep.
A second piece of content might be this is the newest, latest, greatest restaurant in town.
Mm.
And then you think of the activities and the destination reasons people come to your area, those types of things. That's a good content. But what we suggest is start with just having a pulse, because you can do damage not having a pulse.
Mm.
And unfortunately, if we ask 10 of your students to get up on stage and we'll say, let's look at all your Facebook and Instagram accounts, we're not going to get good results. Okay.
No.
Unfortunately.
No, you're right.
Because
you're
the
right.
reality is they're busy.
Yeah.
So what can I do first to have a pulse? The best thing you can do first is we do this every week on our private Facebook group. We do a feedback testimonial of a client in case we don't have a lot of content, just so we can have a pulse.
Yeah. I love it. And even I'm guilty of that too. So one thing I learned from Annette, she's a nurse in our community. She's been really leaning into social media. She got an $8,900 booking from having a pulse.
That is so awesome.
I mean, seriously, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, if that doesn't
Yeah.
give you pause and say, wait a second, maybe the
Yeah.
social media is not just a
Yeah.
game, it's an actual business strategy. Yeah, that's what I learned from her as well. And of course, we know these things, Scott, but she actually implements, which I'm super, super excited about. And I'm so proud of her for doing that. And when she sent me that testimonial of $8,900, this is something that I had been teaching. Is if you're struggling, get on social media. She sends that to me. I was like, wait a minute. I need to get myself in gear as well. So thank you for that reminder. So
I'll give you my
Mhm.
greatest strategy for getting 2 penny leads. You want to hear it?
Yeah, please.
20 years ago, my wife and I went to 30A and the white sandy beaches of
We're
Destin,
building in
Florida.
38, yes.
And unfortunately, we went every year, but we could never find the ideal property for our family. So we decided to invest into a property, our dream home, so that our family could have the experiences of a lifetime before they grew up and they went away. We own this property. It's called Little Dragonfly. This is my wife.
Aw.
And we would love to host you when you're with your family and you want to create unforgettable memories. That 40-second is the greatest strategy for building a top funnel for 2 pennies a piece. Because what that is that's a Facebook ad strategy with a video view objective. You spend $1 a day and you pick your top 5 markets where people come from to your property or to your area, and you start to develop a list of people who have watched that video 100%. That's the top of your funnel, and it costs 2 pennies each. So once you get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, then you hit them with the next ad and you get them through your funnel. But that is how you generate, and every one of your students can do that video. That's your why video. Why did I buy a property, and why might it be something that you guys will enjoy too, your family?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I love that, Scott. And I feel like we're going to have to come back, or for those of you who are in our community, that tap in marketmytudors.com. These are the types of trainings that we're going to come to know and love from Scott, because he just gave us the game, but I still need the technical. I'm going to need you to break it down to me like I'm 5. I'm a spreadsheet girl. I'm like, okay, I do what with it? Do I plug it in? Is it a vertical video? Is it a horizontal video? I am a nerd. I need to know all the things, exactly how to do it and what to do. So I cannot wait, because I think everyone needs to do that. And that's such a heartwarming story. And I would be like, oh,
Yeah.
I want to go there. I want to have these memories
Right.
with my family
Right.
as well. You got me.
Right. But every one of your people in your community who own a rental have that story.
Yeah.
The reason why did they buy, and why would they love to host you, and all that. That's once you have that video, that's what you do to build the top of your funnel. And the beauty about Facebook is you can then only show to people the next ad if they watched a certain percentage of that video. And that's how you dial people in. And it's a magical strategy. But I will say this to leave with your community, because this is really important. If I said, I think I can be ready to do brain surgery, give me 2 weeks of training and I'll be ready, everyone in your community would be incredibly insulted by that statement. And when you said 20 minutes ago, be patient, you have to learn marketing, you and I both know it's not that easy. You have to give it time.
Yeah.
It took these people a long time to be excellent at what they do, and it takes time to be good at marketing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it's ever evolving and I'm learning more and more every day. But what an experience and what an opportunity to just really juice up your ability to generate revenue for your business, generate revenue for your rentals, and put some money back in your guest pocket. Win-win all around. So, guys, I really
Yeah,
hope this
yeah.
was helpful. I cannot wait for the launch. This episode is going to be coming out right around the time of the launch. So, tap in, lock in, get in there. We're going to have a ton of fun with this new added resource in our community. Can't wait for y'all to join us. Bye bye for now.